Blah. Yuckshmish. Today's movie is called Student Body. I believe there is a Student Bodies with an S from the 80s, but I could be wrong. This is written and directed by Lee Ann Kurr. Basically, you have a group of high school students at a private school, some sort of Catholic high school sort of situation. Everybody's wearing those plaid skirts. And you got your student prodigy. Her name is Jane, and her friend is Merritt, and they're best friends. And Merritt pressures Jane into twisting the truth about an interaction that occurred with her math teacher, played by the dude who also plays Dexter's brother in season 1. Really creepy dude. And he kind of has a thing for Jane, and he is also really annoyed with Jane. He uses that classic metaphor of the grasshopper and the ants, but he changes it to involve hammers and fiddles and whatnot. You know, you got the grasshopper who plays fiddle all summer while the ants are storing food for winter, and then winter comes around, and of course the grasshopper was playing all summer, and now he doesn't have any food for the winter, and he's begging the ants to come into their anthill and enjoy the spoils of their hard work. And the math teacher sees Jane as the hardworking ant and her low-achieving high school buddies as partying, fiddle-playing grasshoppers. In any case, the leader of these grasshoppers, Merritt, she pressures Jane, teacher gets dismissed. So they all play on teams. There's this whole thing about retaking a math test that the math teacher won't let all the kids retake, because if they don't, they're not going to get trust funds. They're not going to be able to play on sports teams. Jane becomes the focal point. They need Jane to make it so that they can retake the test, but they also want to expel the teacher. I don't know. It all got a little wishy-washy. The team's mascot is a dude with a hammer, kind of like the white version of John Henry, right? Their school sports name is the Anvils, so you got the guy that hits the anvil. So the kids decide to sneak back into the school. It's your classic 80s slasher setup, right? The kids sneak back into the school for whatever. They're partying, they're hanging out. I think they had to do something with the academia or whatever. Jane, she scrambles the cameras, and one by one they are picked off by somebody wearing the mascot uniform and knocking him over the head with the hammer. Present in the cast is Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith. She has been slowly building an acting career. Harley's boyfriend is also in the film, Austin Zajur. I can't pronounce that last name. He's also in Clerks 3. As a matter of fact, he has one of the funniest roles in Clerks 3. He plays Elias's silent sidekick. So his future dad-in-law kind of wants him to follow in the family footsteps of playing the silent character. And he's great. He kind of steals every scene that he's in by saying nothing at all. So, okay, right, back to the movie. So the kids are getting picked off one by one until we're left with just Jane, including her friend Merritt, played by the gorgeous Cheyenne Haynes, who absolutely could play Dr. Frankenfooter off-Broadway or Broadway production of the Rocky Horror Show. Her character's personality as well as her hairstyle, she kind of had like a Frankenfooter, Tim Curry vibe going. Anyway, Jane becomes the final girl, the last girl standing, what have you. And of course, as it turns out, the one who's been doing all the murdering is Dexter's brother, which makes sense. It's a family business. So she's back in the math classroom, mirroring the same conversation that she had earlier about the analogy with the grasshopper and the ant. But again, he wasn't saying nothing about the grasshopper. He was talking about, having the hammer. He was using the school mascot as the example for his metaphor. And the movie kind of finished on the metaphor, but not in the way that maybe the math teacher thinks he is conveying. Jane wins the day, and as she's walking back in the middle of the street, she is dragging the heavy sledgehammer. And that is the culmination of the whole movie, right? The idea of what the math teacher is saying, and the idea that, working hard, we drag this heavy hammer. She now has this heavy burden of what she has experienced. She is like him because she's the one that sort of accidentally killing her best friend Merritt, the Tim Curry girl. And now she wields this heavy hammer and drags it in life. At least that's what I got from it. It was okay. Here's the thing. If this movie had come out in the 80s, if it had a slightly larger budget and maybe was cast with some of those Brat Pack actors from the 80s, this would be a cult classic, in my opinion. Absolutely, hands down. You got that vibe. It totally has that vibe. It's probably the best thing that it has going for it. And I see that with a lot of movies. They come out decades past when they should have in order to be popular, and vice versa. Look at Mallrats, right? If Mallrats had come out in the aughts or even the 2010s, it would be bigger than anything that Judd Apatow ever did. That's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the hammer hammers. That's the way the grasshopper fiddles.